Okay, so I'm back. I'm sorry. I think you can only, I reached an hour on that last video, so I think you can have videos longer than an hour maybe. But because it just cut off, basically. So I'm just going to finish up topic number one. We're really still on topic number one. I'm on the first topic. So basically, like I was saying, I wanted to keep the baby this time because I really felt guilty about the abortions in the past and just the irresponsibility of it. So basically, like I said, I had noticed maybe a week or two later after the first time I noticed spotting. The spotting got a little heavier, and that, like I said, that is something I never experienced with my daughter. The only pregnancy that resulted in a birth that I've had. So I was concerned. So I drove myself to the hospital. I had a car at that time. I drove myself to West Penn Hospital because over the years, West Penn Hospital is where I received most of my gynae care. I was born in West Penn Hospital. My daughter was born in West Penn Hospital, and that's where I received my most of my gynae care, if not all of it, mostly was at West Penn Hospital. So that's where I went, to West Penn Hospital's emergency room. This would have been December 2008. So basically I went there and they did an ultrasound, and I was informed that the baby had passed away. The baby's heart, there was no heartbeat. I was very early on in the pregnancy, and basically they were not able to find a heartbeat on the fetus. So I was very early on. I can't recall how many weeks I was when I had the miscarriage, but I was just informed that there was no heartbeat. So basically they informed me, since the baby had passed away inside my womb, eventually it would have to come out. You know, my body it's waste now. That's what, once the baby passes, once you have a miscarriage, a baby passes away, that, you know, it's considered waste. It's considered waste in your body. You know, that's what your body considers it. So I was just informed the baby would pass out of my body soon. And if it doesn't pass, there's different kinds of miscarriages where the baby doesn't pass and they have to do surgery or just do other methods to get the fetus, or, well, it was the embryo at this point. That's the earlier stage in a baby's development. So it was an embryo at this point. So I was informed that if the baby did not pass on its own, that, you know, there's other methods to have the baby pass and whatnot. So I was instructed to go home and the baby would pass, basically. So I was very upset. Like, I was crying. I was upset. I was sad because, you know, I was starting to get excited about the pregnancy, even though the situation, you know, I was alone. It was a long distance. I was still starting to get excited about the pregnancy. And by this time, my daughter, she was in CY's custody. So I was not living with my daughter at the time. And that's a whole nother issue as to why she was in CY's custody. That began in 2007. So I'll talk more about that as well. But basically, by this time, she's in CY's custody. So I was alone. I called my mom, you know, but I didn't keep in contact with my family a lot at this time. My sister, I did keep in touch every now and then, but I wasn't, like, visiting much, or, you know, I wasn't in contact with them as much at this time. So really, I really went through the miscarriage alone, and it was very horrifying, because once I got home from the hospital, just maybe a couple hours later, the bleeding really started to get heavy, and then I was like, okay, I guess it's passing now. So, and it was really hard because, like, the bleeding was really heavy. Literally, I couldn't even, like, I was soaking pads like every 10 minutes, literally. I mean, we're talking thick, heavy overnight ones at some, I'm soaking these in like 15 to, not even 15 minutes sometimes. So it was like, I couldn't stop the bleeding. It was a lot of blood. There was blood, like when I would have to run to the bathroom at times, run back and forth for different reasons, because I spent a lot of time sitting on the toilet, letting the blood come out in the toilet. But there were times where I would thought it stopped or was lightening up for a little bit, and I would leave the toilet and I would have to run back, and then so there was blood dripping on the floor. It was so much blood, like it was blood dripping on the floor. There was blood all over the floor. Basically, yeah, so I sat on the toilet and I was waiting to see it. It was going to pass. They told me that I would see the baby at this point, and I did. And it was it looked like just a white tissue, like just a white ball of tissue, like clumps of white matter, white tissue or whatever. And eventually it wasn't that much because the baby wasn't that big, but that was the baby, and it was just a lot of blood. So I seen it in the toilet. I don't want to get specific, but that's what happened. Like, I seen the baby pass in the toilet. I literally didn't flush the toilet for a while because I didn't want to flush the baby. It was technically, that was the baby. It was white tissue matter, but I didn't want to. I just felt bad flushing the toilet. So for a while, I didn't even flush the toilet. And then finally, I was like, okay, I can't leave it in the toilet like that. But it was hard. It was hard. So then I was alone. That was a couple days, a day or two before Christmas of 2008. I was all alone in my apartment when that happened. But as I said, I did tell some people about the pregnancy because I did plan on keeping it. So again, I told Janae Brooks because we were still in contact at this time. I told the father, Marcus Clowney. I told that's about it, really. But I also told my sister, Christine Anderson, because she was also pregnant at the same time. So, I was like, I'm pregnant too, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like that. And basically, like I said, I had went to West Penn Hospital's emergency room. So people knew about the pregnancies. Basically, that was my fourth and final pregnancy. I have not been pregnant since December 2008. After December 2008, I got on contraception, which was the Depo-Provera, because I had been on and off of Depo-Provera for years, on and off. So I got on that immediately because I just was like, you know what, I'm done. Because it was enough. The abortions were enough. The miscarriage was enough. So I was like, I cannot continue to keep getting pregnant if I'm not ready to have the child. Because the fact of the matter is that I just had a bad experience with, my daughter and her father. And it was hard. It was really hard raising her without a father and on my own. So I basically that shaped my views on children for different reasons, like I said. Because I just had bad experiences. So you go off your experiences, I just said, you know what, I cannot continue to keep getting pregnant without being ready for it, So I got on Depo-Provera, and I was on that for a while. And I also went on psych meds around the same time, okay? So not right away. But I didn't get on. I was on and off of Depo for a couple years, and then I ended up starting psych meds on a consistent basis, which was Risperidol. That's what I was prescribed, and I was told I had to take this to eat in order to get my daughter back. And at the time, I really thought it helped, but now I know otherwise. But we'll talk more about that as well. But basically, I had started the psych meds consistently, and probably 2011. 2011 to the beginning of 2012 is when I started the psych meds consistently. So once I started the psych meds, through the psych meds and on and off the depot, I was not getting a period anymore at some point. So I really didn't worry about it at first because that had happened when I got on depot, Provera, in the previous years. So I was like, you know what? That's actually one of the reasons I liked Depot Provera, because I didn't get a period anymore. And I liked that because it gave me a break, you know. So at first I liked that. So really, for years, you know, I did not have a menstrual period. And after a while, I just started to get worried about it. Because I'm like, okay, I'm off the depot now. Because by this time I had been off the depot, but I stayed on the psych meds. And, you know, I also got on, it's another form of birth control throughout this time, which was called Nexplanon, which is, I still have it in my arm, actually. It's that implant that goes in your arm. So really, I wasn't having a lot of unprotected sex at this time, but, you know, I just wanted to be sure that I was not going to get pregnant again, like, you know, just not ready for it, because I didn't want that anymore from, you know, from what I went through with the pregnancies and whatnot. So I was told that the Nexplanon, most of the time, that regulates your period a little more, or it may make it irregular as well. So, you know, basically, that's what I was told. But, you know, basically, the Nexplanon, I let it run its course. So basically, I was not on the depot at all at this point. I'm on the Nexplanon and the psych meds. I'm getting injections. And really, I just noticed my body start to change over the years. I started to get more muscle tone, like in my arms and other areas, like my body, my legs, my butt. Just more muscle tone. I started to gain weight in a lot of areas I had never gained much weight in, like my midsection, my breasts. They got really huge, like really bigger than I ever had, even bigger than when I was pregnant. And again, I was not getting a menstrual. So really, I thought it was because of the Nexplanon. But, you know, even, I just found it a little suspicious because, like, even over the years when I was on and off a depot, once I got off the depot, no matter how long I was on it, my period would come back, you know, a couple months later. No more than, like, 3 months later, the period would come back. So, there was a gap in where I stopped taking the depot and I started the Nexplanon. So there was a gap where I was not on depot and I was not on the Nexplanon yet. So there was a gap where I was on no type of birth control. And my period did not come back. So, you know, I was a little concerned because I just knew that each time I, you know, either missed my depot shot or didn't take the depot shot, you know, my period would come back, you know, next month, 2 months later, usually, no more than 3 months. And that didn't happen, and then I started the Nexplanon, and I started the psych meds as well. So basically, yeah, I was concerned. But at first, like I said, I wasn't that concerned because I just was like, oh, well, I don't get a period. It's convenient, you know. But then after years and years of not getting a period, I grew concerned. And in that time, I actually went to the gynecologist, and I said, you know, I told them the concerns, West Penn Hospital. I said, you know, I haven't had a period in quite some time. Is there any, I just was curious as to if I could even have children anymore. That was starting to be a concern for me because I was not ready for that at the time, but I started to get concerned because you know, I was just like, what if I want children in the future? You know what I mean? And I just want to know, yay or nay. You know, can you even have children anymore? They instructed me to, her question to me when I asked her that and expressed those concerns were, are you trying to get pregnant now? That was her response to me. And I said no, I was not trying to get pregnant at this time. I just wanted to know, could I still bear children? Could I still get pregnant, being that I haven't had a period in years? She said, well, you know, we're not going to worry about that until you're ready to conceive. And so I was like, I disagreed because I wanted to know if I could get pregnant or not. You know, I want to know that, you know, it's something you should know. So, but, you know, she was a nurse. I took her. I said, okay, that's fine. So, you know, basically I went with it. So now I'm still not getting a period. Now, by this time, the next one it lasts 5 years in your arm, and that had ran out. The medicine had ran out, the 5 years. But it's still in my arm. That's my negligence. I have not had it removed. I am to have it removed next week, I believe, finally. But, so I just did a little research on my own. And I looked up the psych med that I was on. I did some research on that, which I should have done before I started taking it in the first place. But I did some research on that, Risperdal. Once I started to see commercials on TV that it was recalled, and I wasn't informed from my doctor that it was recalled, I started to do research on it, and I seen that one of the side effects on there was difficulty conceiving. That was one of the side effects for the psych med. So I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? This could be why I'm not getting my period. You know what I mean? Because I did not know that was a side effect of the psych med. Because, you know, they tell you some of the side effects, but they don't tell you everything. They give you literature, but, you know, I just thought they explained really what the side effects were. But, you know, any medicine you take, I advise you to do research on it because, you know, they might not tell you everything. The side effects are there, you know what I mean? Or they might not even know about all the side effects. You just want to, you know, do research on anything you put in your body, any type of medication, whatnot. So I did not do that research before I started. So I would have known that if that information was available when I first started, that, you know, that was a side effect. So yeah, I was shocked to find that was a side effect, and I started to grow concerned. But, you know, I kept taking the medicine because really I thought, you know, it helped me at the time. That's what I thought it did. I thought it helped me. You know, I thought that was what helped me somewhat, not to have episodes and whatnot. But I noticed that I was still, it's a lot. I noticed I still was having, you know, problems and as to why I was even taking it, you know. Dreams and visions and whatnot. So it was still going on the meds. So, but, you know, I kept quiet about that because I didn't want to be hospitalized again. And I didn't want them to report that to, you know, various agencies that may have been monitoring my psychiatric care, you know, child services in particular. And also by this time I had completed nursing school, so I was looking to get my nursing license, and they ended up finding out that I had a psychiatric diagnosis because I got a DUI. That's what happened. I got a DUI while I was in nursing school. So they found out I had a diagnosis, a psych diagnosis. So one of the requirements for me to complete my, to take my test, to get my nursing license, LPN, was to take the psych meds. That was one of the requirements. And, you know, so I stayed on it for a while. But, you know, after a while, I just was like, you know what, I don't like it. You know, it's you know, it really just started because I missed a shot. So what happened is sometimes I would miss shots or I'd be late getting the shots. So what happened is I was late getting the shot, and I just never rescheduled again. Like usually I would reschedule and whatever and go in and get it if I was late. But I just never rescheduled. That's really how it started, that I didn't take the meds. So after a while, but you know what? After a while of me being off the meds, I noticed I was losing weight. Weight. I was losing weight. And I noticed that would happen each time I was late getting the meds as well, because I was scheduled to get the shots of the meds every 2 weeks. So there would be times I would be like 2 weeks late getting the shot, or longer getting the shot. So I noticed after I was late, I would start losing weight. You know what I mean? Like after like a week or two of being late from the shot and being off the medicine not in my system anymore, I noticed I would start to lose weight. My boobs would start to get smaller and whatnot, but I always got the shot right again. You know, I always would reschedule right again. So, you know, I would go back to, you know, what it was. So now this is the first time I had not rescheduled the shot after it was late. So, you know, by this time I'm off of it for months and months. So, I lost weight. I noticed my boobs obviously got much smaller. My muscles got much smaller, like my muscle tone on my arms got smaller. I noticed that. I noticed my body start to change and kind of go back to what it used to be before I started those injections, because I was just always my whole life a slim person, petite, and so, you know, I would always eat a lot of things and not gain a lot of weight. That's just really how I was my entire life. So, you know, really I at first contributed the weight gain over the years to, you know, I'm getting older, or, you know, I'm eating differently or whatever. I'm not eating well, I'm getting older. So, you know, that's what I thought for a while until I got off the medication and my body started to go back. Now, the masculinizing of my body, that I couldn't explain. I was like, okay, I just know my body never used to be like this. So, you know, it was an issue. It was really an issue because people would think, that's one of the reasons people started thinking, you know, is she a man? Is she a woman? Because I'm still dancing throughout all this. I was a dancer for years. So I'm still dancing throughout this, and I still made money with the body I had. But that was, you know, an issue for me because people started to think I was like a transvestite or something like that, and that was not true. So it would hurt, you know, and I didn't know. I didn't know why my body had masculinized, because I was like, okay, the weight gain, you know, I just think maybe I'm getting older or something, but the masculinization of my body, I could not explain. So once I got off the medication, I just noticed my body kind of started going back to what it used to be, less masculinized, just slim, you know, weight in certain areas as opposed to areas that I had it in. So, you know, I just noticed a lot of changes. And then the biggest change that happened once I was off the medication for so long is that I began to menstruate again. So that was a huge thing for me because I had never menstruated. Well, I hadn't menstruated in so long, like years. We're literally talking probably since like the end of 2008, right after the miscarriage, basically. Because I literally got on Depo-Provera right after the miscarriage to prevent any more unwanted pregnancies. So really since about 2008 is the last time I had a regular menstruation, up until last year. Because last year is when I discontinued the medication on my own, which I am right, that is my right. It's called AMA, which is called Against Medical Advice, and you have the right to do that. And that's not with just medication, that's with any procedure, surgery, any type of treatment your doctor wants to order you. If you feel as though you don't need it, you're not going to benefit from it, medication, surgery, any type of treatment, you have the right to refuse that treatment. Now, whatever happens after that is on you. You know what I mean? But it's called AMA, and it's your right, you know, because the doctor, let's just be honest, they're people. They're you know, normal individuals. So it's just like they can make mistakes. You know what I mean? They do make a lot of mistakes. And I just, as you know, this is off the subject a little bit, but like I just was informed that malpractice was the third leading cause of death in the U.S. So obviously they're not perfect. They do make mistakes. So it's like if you feel personally, or your family, you and your family feel, or just you know, you're not comfortable with that treatment, that surgery, that medication, you have the right to refuse it. You do, and it's called AMA. So, you know, that's what I did. I exercised my AMA rights, and I discontinued the medication on my own, and my period, my menstruation came back, which was a big surprise because I was not expecting that to happen. And it came back, and, you know, it was a little irregular when it first returned, but now it's regular. I get it every month, regularly around the same time. It's a normal, regular period now. Like I get, you know, it's normal. The blood is, you know, bright red, which is a good sign, fertile, healthiness. And the fact that it's coming regular each month is a good sign as well, because that means I'm ovulating, maybe. So I have appointments to check all that out, but, you know, that's a good sign in ovulation that you're receiving the menstrual regularly around the same time each month. So I just do have to further get that checked out, but that's a good sign because that is part of, I need that. Like I need my fertility for a reason, and I will explain that later. But I just really explained all of this about the miscarriages, the pregnancies, the menstruation, whatnot, because I just want to finally, for once and for all, just end the going back and forth, the confusion, the rumors, the everything, the lies. I want to end all of that right now when it comes to my gender, because I'm a woman. I'm a woman. That is my true gender, not through witchcraft or not through magic. Really, I was born a woman. Really, you know what I mean? So, you know, I explained why my body was masculinized over the years, but it is getting back to normal. My body, I don't know if it'll ever be the way it originally was, but it's getting there. It's getting there. And I feel good. I feel good. I have a lot of energy, and, you know, I feel good. You know, because there was periods in those years of being on the medication, I was just very extremely depressed. Not just periods, most of it, all of it, because not just because of the body, but because of a lot of things that were brushed under the rug, which I will explain soon. But, you know, I was a woman, you know, so my body was masculinized. So it was very hard because to have people think you're a man, you know, and you're not, you know, facial hair and, you know, muscle tone and, you know, just a masculinized body. So that was really hurtful to have to go through that. And you know you're a woman, but you know, people think you're a tranny or transvestite, whatever you call it. So, well, yeah, transvestite. So it was very hard to go through that. But I just want to clear that up and put it to rest right now. I am a woman. There's a phone call. So I'm going to end this video right now. But I just wanted to put that to rest once and for all. Because it really bothers me when people, I'm just telling the truth. It really bothers me when people think I'm a man and I'm not. So I'm not a man. I am not a man. I am not a man. I am a woman. Okay. Also, the issue was in the Christianity religion, which is a big religion, you know, they're told the Savior is a man. Okay, so you know that was also an issue because people thought I was a man because of that. You know, I'm saying I'm the Savior. They're going by Christianity. They assumed I was a man. Okay, and that's not true. Also, another reason, my masculinized body over the years. Then there was a post that I put out a while ago, last year. It said something about Bastet being the great he-she. Okay, but that didn't. See, you have to explain this, because I did not mean a transvestite. Okay, so I need to clarify this. That did not mean I was a transvestite. What that meant in that context, as Bastet being the great he-she, is that I have many qualities of a woman, but I also have many qualities of a man. I have manly qualities, not the physical, but, you know, it would be the same context as a tomboy, so to speak. You know, some girls, they're girly girls. They just like makeup, hair. They don't have very much manly qualities. And then there's, you know, then there's women, they just have all manly qualities. They love football. They love cars and construction and fishing. That's all they want to do. They don't want to do nothing girly. But when you're talking about Bastet being a he-she, in that context, it kind of means like I'm a woman with manly qualities, meaning I love hair, I love makeup, I'm very feminine, I love girly things, but I also like manly things. You know, I like football and sports. I want to learn how to go fishing. You know, I like video games. I like a lot of things men like to do. So that's what that means in that context, and that's how I was in ancient times. You know, I would be running and playing with the fellas, but, you know, the next day I was doing everyone's hair, or, you know what I mean? It was, I have qualities of both, but I am a woman. I am genetically a woman. You can do a genetics test on me if you like. You are going to find 2 X's, which are the chromosomes. A chromosome test, A chromosome test will tell you whether someone is a male or a female. 2 X's mean you're a woman, and an X and a Y would be a male. That's also how they identify the gender of unborn children, through chromosome tests and whatnot. So I am willing to do a chromosome test if you need further whatever. But no witchcraft, no magic, nothing change my gender. So I'm a woman. That is my true gender. I am a woman. I have a uterus. I have childbearing abilities, as most women do. So basically, that is that, and I just wanted to clear that up. So, you know what I mean? And not just the interest, the manly interest. I also have other manly qualities. See, now we're talking qualities here. You know, I, can take leadership if I need to. You know, just different things. You know, I can do that if I need to. You know, as a woman, I like to be submissive. That's what I like. You know, I like to be submissive and take guidance from a man that I can trust to take the guidance from. That is my preference. But, you know, certain situations, you have to be able to take a leadership role as well. So that's another one of my manly qualities. So a lot of women have manly qualities, and a lot of men have woman qualities, and vice versa, and vice versa. So there you have it. I just wanted to kind of put that to rest once and for all. You know, I am a woman, okay? No sex changes, no cosmetic surgery. Never had any cosmetic surgery a day in my life. No gender reassignment surgeries is what they're called, sex changes. I've never had any cosmetic surgeries. No cosmetic reassignment surgeries. Nothing. I've had no types of elective surgeries. Well, cosmetic, gender surgeries. So, you know, when I was going to do that, I was open about it, and it had nothing to do with genders. When I was going to receive cosmetic surgery, I plastered it on Facebook. I was happy and excited about it, and I had no problem telling people if I was going to do something, you know. Last year, I wanted to get a breast augmentation, because I really highly disliked my body. Okay, I thought it was very masculinized. I couldn't understand why it changed so much. So as a result of that, I wanted to get cosmetic surgery, and I'm just very thankful I never had those procedures done. But the procedures I did want to get done because I was unhappy with my body at the time. I wanted to get a breast augmentation. I wanted to get a buttocks augmentation, and I wanted to get some liposuction in my midsection. So that was the procedures I wanted to have done last year. I went to a consultation, and basically I thought I was going to be able to get the money from somewhere. Someone said they would pay for it for me, and they played me on that. It did not happen. They never paid for it. I never scheduled a surgery date or anything. I did go on a consultation with Dr. Fairnew by the airport. I can't remember where his office is. Dr. Fairnew, you can ask him. But yes, I never went through with the surgery. I never scheduled a surgery date because of lack of payment. I did not have the money. If I would have had the money, I would have done that. But now that I look back on that, I'm very thankful I never did that, because eventually my body went back to where I'm comfortable with it. I think I still have some ways to go to have it be less masculinized, but it's really getting back to where it used to be. My arms are still a little toned, but I don't know if my body will ever be the same as it was originally. But I do have pictures as well of what my body looked like prior to me getting on the medication as well. And I do have childhood pictures as well. So, I just had to clear that up, because, I literally said a million times that I was a woman. But, people, they just don't want to believe it. They didn't want to believe it. That's not true. I'm not a man. I am a woman. So, yes, that is the truth. And my voice sometimes sounds a little deep and manly. I can admit that. But, that's smoking, I think. I think smoking has a lot to do with that. Because I used to smoke, I've always smoked marijuana. It's no secret. But I never really smoked much cigarettes. So, just smoking in general, it's hard on your throat sometimes. So, I can admit my voice can get a bit deep at times and sound a little manly at times, but that's not my true voice, okay? So I just want to also clarify that. And I'm not the only one, because I've seen other women that smoke, their voice can get a little deep at times or whatever, or if they're talking in a different tone or something like that. So I just wanted to clear up everything, because that's a big issue. But I'm done now. This video is done. Literally, these are all the points. Hold on. I'm going to show this back. These are all the points I wanted to talk about. We're still on number 1. We're still on the first point here. So this is a little more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. So I am going to end it here. And tomorrow, or possibly later, I am going to move on to the next topic, because these points are taking a little more time than I anticipated. So the next topic that I need to discuss and clarify would be my relationship, my marriage, because technically I am married, and I said who I am married to already. We'll talk about that later. My marriages, who I'm married to, and I also wanted to talk about one of the tasks that I have as Savior, since they always reverted to males for such positions. And like I said, Horus, a male, was originally supposed to be the Savior. Like I said, he was found unworthy for whatever reason. So one of my tasks as the Savior is to have a son, to take on the position, to be the next to have the position. Okay, so he's going to inherit the position as Savior, my son, because it is intended to be a man's position, a male's position. So to kind of try to get back to that, one of the tasks that I have is to have a son who will inherit the position as Savior, who is supposed to be nurtured from birth, and I will talk about that. And I'm also, the next point of interest is virginity. So I'm going to talk about that. Now, I'm going to talk about when it comes to me and why I am not having sex right now. I have not had consensual sex since technically have not had consensual sex since about the beginning of September of last year. So we're going on a year without consensual sex, but unfortunately, after I had the last time I had consensual sex, which was in September of last year, unfortunately I was sexually assaulted 2 times after that last year, which I will talk about. One time in October of last year, which I talked about, was an old friend of mine, I thought. Both of them were old friend of mine, I thought. And the second one was actually Thanksgiving Day of last year. So basically, last time I had consensual sex was September of last year. Now, last time I had sex at all, when it comes to sexual assault or consensual, just sex in general, was Thanksgiving Day, which was a sexual assault. After that, I have not had any sexual encounters, we'll say. So that's what I will talk about as to why the reasons I'm waiting, because I have talked about some of those reasons before, but again, it can never be what I say, right? It has to be everything else. So I have to clarify that, and also I just have to clarify, I am having sex. I'm not having sex at this moment right now to protect myself, because the main reason to protect my physical body from any diseases, any type of tainting, being that I have to, I have to give birth to his son. So I want to protect myself physically from different things. And I just want to also clarify and put to rest, I am not infected with HIV or AIDS. I really need to clarify these things because they're really relevant. I do not have HIV or AIDS. I will talk about that though, okay? I will talk about that, but I do not currently have HIV or AIDS or any other STDs. So I need to talk about that right now. Well, not right now, I'm sorry, next time. But I need to just clarify that right now. So I don't want people thinking the wrong things, because literally, if I was a male, truly a male, I would have said that, admitted that. Everything would have been admitted in my confession that I left in East Hills Giant Eagle last year. Everything would have been in the confession if I was really a man. If I was infected with HIV, everything would have been in there. So I just need to lay a few rumors to rest first before I proceed. Like I said, main rumors. I am not a male. I am a woman. B, I do not have HIV or AIDS. I do not currently have HIV or AIDS, okay? Or any other STDs. We have to clear this up. 3, okay, that's the main things I need to clear up. So, but I will talk about the virginity and everything in the next one. I'll probably do one later. And I just also have another announcement. I'll save that because we got to work the details out. But I'm going to be traveling pretty soon. Tuesday, hopefully, to do some work. So hopefully, I'll tell you more about that, but I just do need to work out some more details before I say that's set in stone. So that's it. So I'm done with this video now. But yes, this is much easier. It's more time consuming than I thought, but it's much quicker than writing everything down, because I'm still going to continue to write things down because I like writing. I like how I can deliver writing, but I also like this method as well, videos and whatnot, because it's faster and less time consuming. I can get into more detail on certain things in less time. And you put a name with a face, you know what I mean? When someone's just writing things, you don't know if they're plagiarizing things, which I've never done, kid you not. No, not ever plagiarized anything. You know, you just want to put a name to a face, and just different methods of being able to get the information out there. So, there you have it. So now you see me, I'm here. Like I said, I wanted to go live, but for some reason I was having trouble with that. So I'm just recording the videos on YouTube and uploading them to my Facebook. Alright, I'm done. So just stay tuned for the next videos, which I'll probably start later on, tomorrow at the latest. So thank you very much.